And we are live.
This is the CrackBerry podcast for Sunday, April 30th, 2017.
Hey, everybody. CrackBerry Kevin here, and this is the Regroup podcast episode. I'm saying Regroup for a variety of reasons. One, Blaze is back from a long overdue vacation, but it felt like he was gone for way too long. Welcome back, Blaze. You're looking tan.
I did get plenty of sun and not a whole lot of relaxation. I probably drank too much and ate too much, but I'm glad to be back.
And as we continue our 10 years of CrackBerry series of reunion podcasts, we have Adam Zeis joining us today. Talk about a regroup.
Yay. I too was on vacation for a very, very, very long time.
Do you even know the last time you were on a CrackBerry podcast?
I don't. I probably could have checked, so I hadn't answered that question, but I definitely don't remember that.
All right. Well, that was the maybe the hardest question we'll throw your way tonight in that case. And it's a regroup for another sort. I've been like bedridden the last 7 days. Today, I woke up last Sunday morning, literally a week ago from today, a week ago from today. And I was just like sore and sick, and my back hurt and my lungs hurt. And it like tackled me all week on the busiest week of the BlackBerry year. So I was out of commission. Blaze was on a beach tanning. Adam was not yet out of retirement joining us, which is maybe one of the reasons Adam's on the show tonight is we realized how screwed up things can get really quickly when both Blaze is out and Kevin's out. So we're regrouping, but my voice has come back, and we have a lot of BlackBerry KEYone stuff to talk about today. Not a lot of BlackBerry software stuff. This has definitely been a KEYone week where the KEYone has dominated the headlines. Blaze, where do you want to start? Should we start with the 27th? Because that was really the day a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good spot to kick things off.
So where do you want to go? UK got the glory?
Yeah, the UK, Selfridges and basically the UK got to go ahead and celebrate their release of the BlackBerry KEYone, which, a lot of people were not necessarily pleased to hear about that because it wasn't a North American release, but it was, it was one of those things that was good for folks in the UK. And what can you say about that? I mean, that was one of the things that we planned on happening was, those regional releases. Like I talked about that previously, things are going to happen that way from now on. So.
Yeah, it reminded me of some of the old day BlackBerry launches, right? Because I remember, for people who've been, before there was a shop, BlackBerry.com, which is still in the span of history, BlackBerry device selling history, a relatively new thing. You always used to see kind of carrier rollouts globally. And I want to say maybe it was the Curve. Was it the Curve that launched first in the UK?
Were like 15 different curves. I think
there were a lot of curves. Yeah, no, the original like 8300 Curve. Like I'm thinking of the hyped up device where I was like, why isn't it here first? And I remember reading reviews in the CrackBerry forums from the UK before it ever hit North America. And I was trying desperately to get a hold of one. I could be wrong. It might have been a different device launch, but it's happened before. But you're right. Selfridges got it, which is a high-end retailer, so it's got a bit of premium positioning with the launch. And the UK, we're starting to see like reviews in the forums popping up by users who have the KEYone, and those reviews all look pretty good so far. So it's kind of exciting.
Wasn't there another device? I don't remember which one it was, but that it was like releasing someplace, and then Selfridges kind of like popped up and was like, "Hey, we're selling it right now."
Yeah,
it's happened before with Selfridges, definitely.
Yeah.
Was that like a Porsche design, or was that?
I want to say it was one of the Porsche ones, but I don't remember. But I think it was something along those lines where it like popped up and they were like, "Hey, it's on sale at Selfridges," and then they ran out, and then they got more or something like that.
Yeah, they definitely had a few exclusives on the Porsche design devices. I know that for sure. And much, like Adam said, they sold out, and they ended up getting more, but. That's exactly what happened with the KEYone too. They sold out of the KEYone, and then they ended up bringing in more. Like there's still people out there that are like, "Yeah, I just picked one up. All I had to do was walk right in and pick it up," while other people are not able to order it, which is always seemed kind of odd to me. But.
And then the other big news of April 27th, I guess a few hours after the device went on sale in the UK, Canada made a big announcement, BlackBerry Mobile in Canada, with pre-orders are going to begin on May 18th, and they basically announced full support of like every Canadian carrier for the KEYone, which is pretty huge news to see that happen, and a pretty, I think, solid price point, 199 Canadian on a 2-year term, which is not bad at all, because we know the device is $549 US. I don't know if that press release said the outright pricing of it in Canadian dollars, but knowing that the Canadian dollar is about 30% less than the US dollar right now, you know, 199 on a 2-year term is pretty solid.
199 is like, that's perfect. Like, I thought that it would be more than that, actually.
So did I. Well, and I think, you know, I was actually at Rogers a few hours ago picking up extra SIM cards to put in KEYones for the CrackBerry meetup tour, which resumes this week. And I asked them how, you know, Galaxy S8 sales were doing. And they're like, you know, it hasn't been kind of what they expected. But they said, you know, like the take of the kid working at the Rogers store, he's like, it's an expensive phone. Like on a 2-year contract, I don't know, you can pull up in the Rogers site right now. I think it's over $400.
I feel like, do people still do like contracts? Like, do they, I mean, you know, obviously we're different because we go through phones like, you know, every 6 months, but I guess people still do like 2-year contracts and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, phones are expensive, right? Like, you know, some of these phones are $1,100, $1,200 right now. So,
no, like a lot of places in the US, you have like AT&T and T-Mobile where they have whatever they call their programs, like Edge Index and stuff like that, where you just kind of add it into your bill and then you pay it monthly for, you know, 14 years or whatever it is. But
yeah, Canada still kind of relies a lot on the actual contract system too. So, but I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like even if you're paying, even if you're going into a contract and still paying $400 out of pocket, that's quite a bit of money. Like, I wouldn't do that anymore.
All right, that's a chunk. So they really liked the KEYone though. I showed it off at the Rogers store, and they were like, "What's that? Is that a KEYone?" And they're like, "Oh my god!" And then they're like, "Hey, are you the CrackBerry guy?" And I'm like, yeah, guilty. But it was fun. No, so coming back to that announcement, May 18th will start the Canadian pre-orders with availability beginning on May 31st. And then after that press release hit, there was also a statement update from BlackBerry Mobile in regards to the US availability, which basically stated the same date, going on sale starting May 31st for GSM and CDMA unlocked variants. And then I might as well. What? Sprint. And then they announced
it too. Sprint hasn't had a BlackBerry since the BlackBerry Q10, and they're going to have the BlackBerry Q1. That's like amazing.
You call it the Q1 just now or the KEYone? I heard Q1.
I heard KEYone too. That was pretty hardcore.
Good. Yeah, no. So I mean, and they said, and coming to additional carriers. So obviously Sprint is, letting the name be heard. But when they say additional carriers, I assume there's going to be some other big names we recognize in that mix, which is good. So I think it's great to see. I mean, this is a very strong North American rollout that's happening, which again, when it comes to the timeline, now I tried to stay away from the comments of all these posts I've just mentioned because I had a hunch that North America, the hardcore CrackBerry fans who have been jonesing for this phone since January 3rd, I think, when it got teased at CES, are sick of waiting, which I understand. I think maybe 2 podcast episodes ago, we talked to death the reality of the waiting game.
Yeah.
But so I don't want to go into it too much more today, although we could rehash it a bit. So I stayed away from those comments. So I'm just going to assume they were really positive. People are totally fine with waiting a little bit longer.
I'm one of those people right now, so I'm like distraught too. I've been trying to track down people in the UK so I can get one ahead of time because like waiting another month is like painful.
So what is the easiest way? Because you pretty much need somebody to buy one local,
I'd
right?
literally like somebody to like email me when they're watching this podcast and tell me if they can get me one. But I would assume that anybody in the UK can just go buy one or have it, order it online and have it shipped to them and then just send it.
And just send it to you overnight, that stuff.
Fully.
Cool.
Selfridges actually does international orders. Like you can order one directly from Selfridges.
So I could do that right now, like on my credit card in the US, I could buy one from Selfridges.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can because I know that There's
What?
forums that have been doing it. So
Where were you like 20 minutes ago? I was talking to Kevin trying to do this. They were like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah,
Can't
I
do
mean,
that.
try to figure it out right now, Adam, and we can see.
I'm gonna go. So if you don't hear me talking, that's why.
when I say that, I just don't know. I don't know what the currency value like is going to be, or what like the shipment pricing is going to be, or if there's going to be any, international taxes associated to it or anything like that.
Way to kill my buzz right there.
Well, so the good news is the KEYone is quite reasonably priced for such a premium device. So, if you got to pay some taxes and duties and shipping, like whatevs.
I mean, that's the balance that you have to make. Like, how bad do you want it, or can you give up that little bit of pocket change to be able to go ahead and get it right now, right? So
I'm so tempted to scroll down and read these comments, and I'm just like, I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm looking.
Hey, look, I mean, it's a fair balance between the people who can essentially wait and the people who are a little bit frustrated with the wait time for it. I mean, it's understandable. I mean,
the good news is now it's confirmed, right?
Yeah.
At least availability, and those who don't want to wait longer come the 31st, I guess, are going to be able to get one. Right. If they want to wait for their carriers and that it might take longer, I'm assuming the way the note was written, but at least you know what you're dealing with. So that's good. I think the thing now, it's almost like it's the hindsight question, right? It's always, well, okay, obviously, and this is just Kevin's outside logical reasoning. Every company wants to launch their product as fast as possible, right? So if it doesn't launch sooner, it's not like, oh, they picked a date later. It's like, okay, there's a reason probably why they can't get it out sooner, right? And I mean, at least we're seeing here that, they announced every carrier in Canada, and it seems like the support's pretty strong North America wide. So at least that shows me it's like, okay, so this is a major rollout for BlackBerry, which I don't know. When's the last time BlackBerry's had a major rollout?
Never.
like they didn't even pull it off with BB10.
No. The passport wasn't even necessarily a major rollout or anything.
No. So I mean, and oh, by the way, this isn't BlackBerry. This is like BlackBerry Mobile, brand new. So I'm assuming they're reestablishing. I mean, I know it's TCL who has Alcatel, but I'm assuming, and we heard it at MWC, that this is a new team that's getting built. So I'm assuming the first time is going to be the hard time here, where you have to like basically build a new team and build all these establish all these connections again.
Yeah.
The next phone, and we know that BlackBerry will bring other phones to market this year, I'm assuming will be probably lickety-split, or not lickety-split, but it's going to be straightforward because all the heavy lifting is done getting this one to market. So, I think probably the upside of a slowly painful birthing process this first time around is, the second time should be a little less painful. So all good. And then the other exciting thing on the 27th, we started to see some unboxings hit the internet. So it's including CrackBerries. We posted one. Yes.
Yay.
And I will tell the story in a bit of how I came back from my deathbed to actually do that video.
It's a pretty
it was not fun at all. But we saw some unboxings happen. So there's a post up on CrackBerry. We rounded up the major ones that hit. And, it's really clear that, North America, well, I think globally, a lot of the tech media and people who would normally post reviews have the phones now. They're official review units, including Blaze has his and Kevin's got his. And, soon you're going to see a whole bunch more reviews hit the net. So not quite yet, because you need a little bit more than a couple of days to do a proper review of a device. But at least some of the teasing can happen now, like unboxings and social posts. And Blaze, I won't ask you for your review impressions, but you have a KEYone, man, so let's ask you some questions at least.
I'm down.
Me and Adam, let's take turns. How does it feel in the hand?
It's actually really nice. I mean, I like the way that they've done the backing on there, because it has sort of like a soft touch finish. It's not necessarily like sticky like the Priv was, but it's a nice soft touch finish, and it has like perfect positioning, like the perfect weight in your hands is what I would like basically refer to it as. Because I mean, when you look at the device, people always said that, oh, well, it looks kind of tall. It seems like it may not be necessarily proportioned right, maybe a little bit top heavy, but that's not really the case at all. When you get it in your hands, it doesn't feel top heavy in any sort of way. It just feels really, really good in the hands, and it feels premium, like a premium device. It doesn't feel cheap or anything along those lines. It feels like it was designed to be a premium device, and that's an outstanding feature to me because of the fact that you are getting it at a lower price point, right?
So when I was at that Rogers store earlier today and I let the guys pick it up, that was the first thing that came out of their mouths. They're like, "Man, this thing feels nice. Like this is premium." So that's solid.
I think that's what I'm going for. I think it was, I want to say the Bold 9700. Like I just remember it and I think I've talked about it, for years where I had it, and I never have had a problem just like throwing it like on the couch or on the table. Like I knew that it was going to be intact, like it was built, like a tank, and I never worried about like damaging it. And it was great to hold. Like it had a back that was, kind of slick but still grippy. Like I've been using different Android phones. I had like the Nexus 6P, and just having straight middle back, like it's super slippery, and I miss the BlackBerry backs where there's stuff to hold on to and they're grippy and it like feels solid, and I don't feel like I need to put an OtterBox on it to keep it from getting banged up or anything. And I'm super actually like really looking forward to it. The more I thought about it the last couple weeks, I'm not getting a style ring. I'm not going to keep talking so that
did you watch my video of a style ring?
No, I refuse to. We talked about this when I think we had lunch in the city one day, and you were like, I looked at it and I was like, what the hell is that? And you're like, no, it's the greatest thing ever. This and this and this, drop your phone in your face. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen to me. Oh my God. I'm going to have one in a second. I watch. It's gonna be like 2 podcasts from now. I'm gonna be like, check it out. I got a style ring. It's amazing.
It's amazing. I just say take the challenge. Okay, continue though. Continue.
So I'm really looking forward to. Just having it. Because the more I've been using my phone, like I'm trying to get more like analog in my my sabbatical that I was on. So like I stopped wearing a smartwatch and stuff like that. But I'm just looking to have a phone with a battery that gets me through the day. That I'm kind of looking forward to having the keyboard and just being able to crank stuff out. And just have something work that's there, that works, that doesn't break.
Let's make that Blaze's next question. So keyboard, Blaze, I don't know what device you were using last. Were you using a keyboard, physical or not?
No, D-Tech 60.
Okay, so how many days did it take you to get used to a keyboard again? Or are you used to it yet?
No, to be totally comfortable with it, it pretty much took me about 2 days to get back into that rhythm and feeling like I could actually like look at you and still be able to type. Like it was one of those things where the first day is kind of like, oh, this feels kind of weird to be able to go ahead and get back into it. But then as the day progresses, you start to feel a little bit better. But by the second day, I get back into that pattern where like it's like I don't even need to look at the keys anymore to be able to go ahead and type on it. I can just type on it, right, without actually looking down or anything like that. And that's a full 2-day period. But like I said, 1 day to get the feeling back. By the end of the second day, you're just ready to rock and roll, from my experience.
Is it weird for you? This maybe I sound like a totally naive question, but just having, like I guess my biggest fear of having the physical keyboard there, and not that I do a whole lot of stuff in landscape mode, but like turning the phone, is it weird to just have the keyboard like hanging out on one side, like in landscape mode when you're, watching a video or something like that?
No, there's actually certain scenarios like when you're taking a picture or something like that. It's
that too.
Good to have kind of there because how it's positioned, and this sort of goes back to Kevin's use of the style ring too, and it might fit in there.
Please God, no.
Like the camera, the space bar on when you have the camera activated, the space bar on the KEYone actually acts as like a shutter button for the camera, right?
Yes.
So that actually reduces one of the necessary needs to not to have a style ring. I don't need the style ring because I can literally just go selfie like that and then it works, right? So true. It in instances like that, it seems like it was kind of like a thought out thing to be able to go ahead and make the spacebar a camera shutter button. But there are certain instances where and I don't necessarily think that it's part of the device itself. Is just sort of like how Android operates, and the way that the device is laid out. Like there's a certain apps, and it's mostly with games. When you launch them, they'll launch proper, but then they'll go into landscape mode on you, and then you kind of have to turn the device. It hasn't happened very much, but like I said, that's one of the weird scenarios that I've come across. But other than that, it's perfectly fine to have the keyboard there. It doesn't disrupt any flow or anything like that. I actually find it useful again in that scenario with the camera and everything along those lines. So it doesn't really bother me in any sort of way.
What about, I don't know if we touched on the battery life, like how are you finding the battery as far as?
Well, the battery life, like right now, I don't want to put too much out there, but
no, I've been saying it since February, man.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's my favorite feature because
it is.
It's just like
that's what I'm most excited about.
Once you know the battery life is that good, you just use the phone way more all day, and you never mentally or subconsciously throttle yourself back. You can just like live with the screen on all the time. I think it could just go all day with the screen on. It doesn't even matter.
My basis for comparison is, I forget which BlackBerry World it was. It may have been like the first one Blaze and I ever went to together, but I remember he showed up with whatever device it was, and he probably had like 4 spare batteries or something like that. And like I'd never, I was a BlackBerry addict, and like I knew people that use their BlackBerries all the time, but I never knew anybody to be on their phone like constantly.
That's right. He had a problem.
Yeah, remember where we actually like challenged him the one day, like stay off your phone for 20 minutes or something like that. He failed, but he had like 4 spare batteries, so that's like my basis for battery.
But I think what's mind blowing to think back to those days, like remember, like the Bold 9700 has fantastic battery life, which it did.
Mm-hmm.
Its screen is like what, a third the size or resolution compared to this. Sure. So, and it was a pretty thick phone. Like you think about now, obviously those, I forget how big was the battery in that. 1400 milliamp hours
compared
to 17. We weren't even into 2000 milliamp hours.
Yeah, so they're half the battery size, I guess. But they also had like a third the screen and way less power compared to these phones. So I think this battery life is just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you've been saying it since you got yours, and for me, it's been absolutely stunning. I think I have one of my screenshots because I keep screenshots and monitoring and stuff like that. It was basically like 1 day and 19 hours that it was going, and that was like I still had like 30% remaining on there. Now that was fairly reasonably high usage of the display as well, because when you talk about battery life, it's got to coordinate with the screen on time and everything like that. But that was still fairly high for my kind of usage, right? So it was absolutely amazing thus far. And the other thing that I noticed is that like the house doesn't have necessarily great T-Mobile coverage, because I'm using it on T-Mobile right now, and even when it's like struggling with the connectivity, T-Mobile's fault entirely, but it doesn't kill the battery down like previous devices that I've had. It's not.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of just like accepting the challenge and
well, so I think that's an interesting point, and I don't know what makes the difference there, but I've been traveling a lot these last couple of months, so I've been roaming a lot with the KEYone, and normally if I go to a city like New York, it eats through phones, right? You have like tons of people there in the city, you have like huge buildings that just make, I think, connecting harder. Like it's the perfect mess for killing battery life. And KEYone had no issue ever. And then one day I switched back to my D-Tech because I lent my KEYone out to Mark to go take one of our Mobile Nations photographers who lives there. He was out grabbing some photos for me around the city. And, the D-Tech was like dead by 8 o'clock or something. It was like just zero. And the KEYone on the other days was like fine. I was going back, bed 40% battery life, and, same thing, using it all day. So it's a huge, huge difference. Let's see, more questions for Blaze. Does it have stereo speakers?
No, unfortunately.
Can you customize the color of the LED?
Yes, you can to a certain point. I mean, part of the customization with the LED comes from the fact that app developers also have to include that customization option within the app itself. So for like all the BlackBerry stuff, you can customize it. For like some of the Facebook apps and all that you can customize it. But again, it's one of those Android quirks where it's kind of like if the developer includes the capability to go ahead and change the LED, then you can do it. But if they never even thought about that feature, then you may not necessarily be able to customize it entirely.
And I've seen
also secondary apps that you can download from the Google Play Store too.
And I've seen some questions in the forums about swipe gesture on the home button, which appears to not be there.
Yeah, so the swipe gesture, in most cases, I think everybody is referring to the three icons with the swipe gesture there. That is not there. That has been removed, and I don't have an answer for as to why. I can only make the assumption that it's because of the home button and the placement of the home button. It's kind of like one of those things where it was great to have it on the Priv because the Priv was a full screen device and the keyboard was tucked away. So it did allow you to be able to go ahead and access some additional stuff without actually flipping open the keyboard and anything like that. But for my usage, it's not one of those things that I constantly relied on, and I don't necessarily miss it either because everything that I wanted to do with it is still pretty much available. Like your device search and all that stuff is still there, even though it's through the icon. I saw a lot of people say that they used the swipe gesture to be able to lock their device. Well, on this one, if you want to, replace that feature, then you can hold down long press on the K key, and then your device is automatically locked, right? So you're kind of like removing stuff at that point. But again, it's one of those things where I can understand why some people would be upset, but I can also see the reasoning as to why it's probably gone too. It's just it kind of doesn't make sense on the device.
Yeah, I think too. I mean, you kind of said it right. Like say for quick access to the hub, you can program your convenience key if you want to also, which is, I either do that or I set it to the camera. And you have 52 shortcuts if you want on the keyboard itself, right? Exactly. So you've got no shortage of, shortcuts. Let's see. One more question for Blaze, and then we should move on. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
Sorry, I wanted to give a quick score update. I did a little digging on selfridges.com, and unfortunately, right now it's out of stock, the KEYone, but I looked at the DTEC 50 just for kicks, and it looks like you can order it there and have it shipped to the US, and it's like $30 for express shipping to the US for the DTEC anyway. So I'm hoping that
you need to refresh constantly.
Yeah, I just set up a little page monitor thing, so hopefully it'll come back in stock. But it's looking like a possibility, so we'll update at some point if that works out. But that would be pretty
bad that it's sold out because people can't buy it, but it's good that it's sold out because that means people bought a lot.
Yeah, it's like a double. It sucks for me right now, but it's great in the big picture, I guess.
Well, if you can buy them, buy as many as you can.
You just see me tomorrow. I'm gonna get like 12 of them.
Well, we need like 40 for BlackBerry KEYone IOUs. I owe to various winners on CrackBerry.com from our meetups and contests.
I have like custom showing up at my door and be like, "Sir," I'd be like, "No."
Why do you have so much lithium coming over the border? That's a bomb, right?
That'd be pretty crazy.
What was your final question, Kevin?
I was gonna make one up for you. So, what is your favorite? No, bad question. What is the thing that surprised you most about the KEYone so far? That you weren't expecting? Just like the thing that's got you enamored, or Could be hardware, it could be software.
Personally, I think the camera is the standout feature for me because I like taking a lot of pictures and stuff like that. It's far above beyond what anything else BlackBerry has done in terms of their cameras. So I think that's pretty much one of the things that a lot of people, including myself, are generally concerned about. It was, how good is the camera on there? It's been fantastic for me thus far, and the additional options that it includes. I think I saw you mention where like the different modes that they have available, like the vivid mode really punches colors a bit. Yeah, that's really nice to have. I find that the regular pictures are a nice natural color. They're not like oversaturated or anything like that. But if you want to go ahead and add some more additional pop to them, then the vivid mode is there to be able to go ahead and get that color out of the photos and stuff. So I mean, that's one of the standout features for me. And I think overall, I mean, I guess I'm just really pleased with the quality of the hardware and the device and how it feels. The overall, everything about the package is is nice, especially when considered the price for it. The other thing that I was quite pleased with in terms of the hardware is the fact that, you know, there was a lot of hubbub made about it only running, you know, Snapdragon 625 and only having, you know, 3 gigabytes of RAM. But I think a lot of that was not really applicable because of the fact that, you know, the stuff was specific. The hardware was specifically chosen for a purpose, and it fits that purpose very well. It maximizes the battery life, but it doesn't lag in terms of performance. And I've said it before, you know, even though that the DTEK 60 has better specs on paper, it's not the better device in my opinion. It may be better for certain people out there, but when it comes down to it, the battery life on the KEYone is better, the camera on the KEYone is better, and the performance on the KEYone is better than the officially on paper better device. So, I mean, you know, we'll see if my theory matches up with everybody else's when the reviews start coming out. But that's how I feel, and that's what has been my experience in the use from even the pre-production hardware to the review unit that I have now. Nothing has changed in that respect. So
yeah, I mean, I have to work on my written review this week, get it ready, but I have many collections of notes. And, you know, when I look at my collection of notes on, you know, are there any things you'd want to, you know, what would you change in the next one, right? And I think what's interesting, we've said it before on this podcast already, is like, I feel like this design they came up with is going to be valid for a long time. Like the actual hardware idea of it, like the screen size, the keyboard layout, like, you know, we went, I mean, again, for anybody who's been here the past decade, you know, we went, every phone was like one step closer to the perfect BlackBerry, and it was like the next one. Remember that TV show Quantum Leap with the next leap will be the one that gets you home? Yeah, that was what we were hoping for. It's like, this will be the one that takes us to BlackBerry Utopia. And I feel like this design is solid. Like it's going to be good, right? So then that begs the question, well, what would you change for the next one? And I think like size, form, weight, all that is beautiful. I mean, I'm willing to stick more inside, right? Like this is 32 gigs of memory. I'm like, well, give me a KEYone Pro version where I can just spend more money, you know, just take my money, BlackBerry Mobile, and I'll throw you an extra bone for the, you know, a 128 or whatever internal memory, even though I can expand it with a micro SD card. And I'd probably take the extra gig of RAM just to have it, even if I don't need it. But, you know, maybe there's times where I'm going to need it. And probably what was the thing? Oh, OLED. That's maybe my one thing where I always loved like the really black OLED displays.
Yeah.
And it's never, the screen on this has never bugged me. I think it's a fantastic display. But then I just have this feeling like, okay, maybe if it had an OLED, I would be like even more enamored than I am, right? Just when you see it like that jet black, for lack of a better word.
I like jet black. That's good.
Yeah, but it's a solid device, right? So we didn't do any review coverage there because we're going to do that soon once we do our actual reviews. But, you know, that's a little teasing, little taste of what's to come. What else is on our hit list? Oh, we got to talk about more unboxing still. But before we get there, CrackBerry meetup tour continues this week. So I am here for the next few days, home. And then Friday, I fly to Calgary. We're having a Calgary CrackBerry meetup on, I believe that's May 5th in the evening. And
Cinco
then
de Mayo.
That is Cinco de Mayo. Then I am flying the next morning to Vancouver, Canada and we'll have a meetup there on Saturday, May 6th. And then I'm actually flying from Vancouver to LA. I have some meetings there for a couple of days. And then I'm flying to San Francisco for a conference for a day. If I have any, I don't have enough time to do any meetups there, but if I have any time, just follow me on Twitter because maybe I'll like tweet out what hotel lobby I'm in. And I saw there were some people on Instagram and that who were like, if you're in San Francisco, let me know. So maybe I'll do some impromptu, informal stuff there. And then I fly from SF to Ottawa on a red-eye Friday night. to land there Saturday morning, and we'll have a Saturday night meetup in Ottawa, and then I fly from there to Montreal on May 15th, and then the next day, and then Monday, May 15th, we are going to have a CrackBerry meetup in Montreal, which I will turn a year older at midnight, so that might be the funnest of the bunch. That could get crazy.
How old are you gonna be? Like 22, 23?
Yeah, right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's so not.
I honestly lost track.
I can't even believe like a decade has gone by here. I'm just like, I'm holding back my anger. Can you see me purse my lips? Like,
it's terrible.
Horrible. And then I'm thinking we might throw on a Waterloo meetup for May 18th, but I have not yet formally announced it. So if you're listening to this and you hear the words Waterloo and you want to meet up on May 18th, I could potentially make it happen before I fly home. So we shall see. So hit the link in the pod if you're, just go to CrackBerry if you're listening to this and you're in any of those cities, because you can sign up, and stay tuned. Canada is very much the road show for the next few weeks, and then I will head south to the US of A to continue the CrackBerry fun in person.
Yay.
I'm also open to lobby meetups as well, considering I'm in Arizona and I generally share my location all over the place while I'm out and about. So if you see me at the farmer's market or In-N-Out Burger or Smash Burger or Whataburger or whatever,
Blaze
Eats
Burgers.
I'll be there.
Burger. Bob's Burger. Blazes Burgers.
That'd be a good show or podcast. Blaze Eats Burgers. I'd follow that. Yeah.
And then, okay, so that's the meetups. This is going to be a fairly fun short show. So, I want to come back. So unboxing. So some people, there's going to be, I think, a lot more content hitting the web this week around the KEYone. But make sure you check out Android Central's KEYone unboxing, because Alex Doby picked up a unit at Selfridges on launch day. And because of his British accent, and it was a UK launch, I feel like it's the classiest unboxing online right now. The CrackBerry one is definitely the most cracked out, but Doby's is very proper and very well done.
I think anything done with the British accent just instantly makes it.
Of course. No, of course it does. Maybe that was the real secret. Maybe that was the secret, like, marketing tactic here. It's like, let's give it to the Brits to unbox first, and then the rest of the world will want it. Could be the key. What I really liked is Erica Griffin, who's a really popular YouTuber. Several 100,000 followers, that kind of thing. Female, younger, awesome. Loves the KEYone. Like, she is enamored by it. And she unboxed it and is loving it. She was tweeting me on the weekend. She's like, I love the KEYone. And, I think we've seen a lot of positive press around the KEYone. We've seen some negative things too. You're going to expect BGR to never write a nice headline, because I still think that, there's yet to be one since 2007 or something at some point when it comes to BlackBerry. But, she's loving the phone, which is really, really, really interesting to me. So, and just great to see. So if this is a phone that could find some new audiences, not just us aged BlackBerry diehards, which is cool. And folks at Pocket Now, Jaime Rivera did a really nice unboxing. Tim Schofield did a really good one. I think it's Schofield. Just like Prison Break. Are there any Prison Break fans watching this?
Oh, jeez.
Michael Schofield. No, that means nothing to anybody.
So there's only two other people here.
You basically hit on the one show that I didn't watch.
Wow, there's a new season that just started, so you could watch the original 4 seasons on Netflix and then tune into the new one that's on TV right now.
It's always been one of those shows where I'm like, man, I should watch that.
You might like it. It gets you for a while hooked. And the last thing, so we actually did pretty good. If you have a KEYone and you're looking for help, or you probably started Googlings for help, we dropped a ton of basically like a BlackBerry KEYone beginner's guide, which I think by CrackBerry standards is probably the most complete day one beginner's guide we've ever put together.
What are CrackBerry standards, though? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, typically we're always so frantically busy that we're not good at pre-planning things and getting them done. But we put up a lot of good content. So a lot of the basics there, how to set up your KEYone, how to transfer data from your iPhone or BlackBerry 10 phone or other Android phone. Which I got to say, that was my favorite part of getting my review unit. Was I had my original unit, which is still running like software from January 13th. It hasn't had an update. Still runs great, which I find awesome. And then I had it all set up, and I just tapped them during the setup process, and everything takes a little bit of time. Boom, phone set up. So easy peasy.
Yeah. The funny thing about that, though, is that like it works and it generally works great, but when it fails miserably. Yeah. And that's not a BlackBerry thing either. It's actually it's built into Android, but that's the thing is like when it works, it's amazing and it transfers everything amazingly well. But when it doesn't, it's like, oh my god, what did I?
It's been a BlackBerry thing for years. Using like the BlackBerry manager on the computer. It's like when it worked, it was great, but then other times like you couldn't even get your phone to connect to it, and it was totally. Right. So.
We can blame Google for this one because when it works amazing, but when it doesn't, it's like.
And we have a lot more to come on that type of content. I think it's an interesting, it's interesting because obviously a lot of the hardcore users will be the, tech enthusiasts will be the first people to buy the phone, or just like longtime BlackBerry fans. And, I always try to anticipate like what are the most commonly asked questions going to be. And a lot of things seem basic. And I think for most of us, we've been using, Android phones, iPhones, BlackBerries for years. We haven't just been locked into it. And, from a lot of the BlackBerry users I've met at the meetup so far this year, even the hardcore BlackBerry fans tend to have another device by them. It's, with them, right? Whether it's an Android phone or an iPhone. So I don't know what to expect, right? If this transition from like a BlackBerry to like BB10 phone or BBOS phone to the KEYone is hard jumping to Android, or if it's actually pretty straightforward. Like, to me, everything's pretty straightforward the last few years. Like everything does things differently. Even if you go to a Samsung phone or an HTC or an LG, there's going to be differences in Android. But overall,
I feel like that would be a really good study to see how many, I don't know how you do it, but how many people are, would switch, but comparing whether iPhone users are more prone to switch or, because you would think Android users would be more prone to switch from an Android phone to another Android phone. But if there's any barrier for iPhone users, or like you said, if everything's basically similar at this point.
It's so interesting. Like everybody I know in the world of Android always talks about like, Apple lock-in is so strong. It's harder to get people from Apple to switch to like an Android phone than to have people just keep switching within Android. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I see a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people who will switch away from that iPhone back to something else. And I don't know. I mean, even for me, like I have a lot of Apple products. My computers have been Apple for the past several years, although I kind of want to get Windows 10 going on a machine again. I have an Apple TV for my like TV box. I have a Chromecast also, but it doesn't get as much use just because, I don't know, my wife likes the Apple TV. It's easy to use. Well, we have an iPad. iPads, though, are like, an iPad is just a fancy coffee table book these days. Like we don't hook it up to anything. Like Apple's so stupid too with this not putting multiple user accounts on the device. Like one of the things I love about Android is you can have multiple personas set up on the same phone. So it's like, well, here's all the Kevin stuff, but I want to just, if I had a child and I wanted to let them play with the phone games, I would just like switch the profile. So like iPads sit around and they're just like, it's a multimedia consumption thing. I don't actually ever hook it up to anything.
Yeah.
And then I have my KEYone on Android, and it like really it's my only, and that's whether I use the Google Pixel for a while or Samsung phones. It tends to be my only Android phone. I don't have a product. I don't have a bunch of other Android products around. And
I don't think you have to be locked in anymore. Like, you like previously had to use an iPhone, you have to use a Mac, like, because they work so well together. But now it's like, it doesn't make a difference. I'm the same way. I use a Mac and I use Android phones. So
I feel like the cloud is really what's allowed that to happen, right? Because even on my iPhone, I switched to like Google Photos a while ago, just because I didn't want frickin' Apple Photos to be the only thing. And Google Photos are, I think, better. Like some of the stuff it does.
Speaking of Google Photos, I know one of our colleagues on Android Central wrote up an article about it as well. I think it was Flo who wrote it up. But it basically, like Google Photos, when you're on vacation and stuff, absolutely amazing for stuff like because I was taking pictures on obviously Android phone the whole time that I was gone away, and then when I connected to Wi-Fi, those pictures automatically uploaded, and I can go ahead and share them. I shared them directly with Michelle right from my Google Photos account and everything like that, and they're all there. And then as you're going along, it also creates like
albums and
it creates movies and albums, and it gives you like animations. Like there's we were there when one of Michelle's friends was like dancing on stage and stuff like that, and it created an automatic GIF of her dancing on stage all crazy and stuff. It was awesome. It's absolutely amazing when you just let it do its thing and put it to work. It'll notify you. It's like, hey, we created a new album for you, or hey, check out this awesome new collage that I probably never would have created on my own, right? So it's going to take out like 4 photos of me and Michelle, all different photos, and I'm like, that's awesome.
I think you're totally right. I think you just hit on one of these things too, which, I'm expecting, as BB10 owners get the KEYone, you're going to see like a lot of threads pop up in CrackBerry where it's like, well, BlackBerry 10 was better at doing this in some cases, right? It might have been, faster for this app or different for this, or I like the way the file system did this differently than this. But I think it's this give and take, right? And what you're talking about now is one of these like, so the benefits now of this switch is you get something like that just built in, right? It's like it's for free by doing the switch to Android, and
absolutely,
and it works super well, and it's on Apple too, right? So you can carry it with you wherever you go. Google Photos for the win, though. I definitely like it. But Adam, let's talk about you and then wrap this up. Since this is our 10th anniversary series this year, we're having some fun reminiscing about the good old days.
Yay!
Yeah, Simon, looking a little grayer, looking a little balder.
So Kevin and I were deciding which one looked younger or fatter before. So I don't know that we came to a conclusion. I'll go on.
All I know is when I look back, because we took, I'm not going to swear, so many photos in 2013 during the Talk Mobile BlackBerry 10 launch days. And when I go see those photos, I feel like we were all very fat. Like Kevin was. Phil Nickinson, compared to now, Mr. Modern Dad, has lost tons of weight.
Yeah.
Although Dan Rubino was super svelte back then. He's maybe bulked up now.
He's never been fat, though. He's always been
he bulked up on muscle. So I feel like I'm better than 2013, but
you never know. I said it before. I mean, it's been so long.
It was last night, and I was like, Michelle was sitting there. She was like, "Is that Kevin?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, hey, he kind of looks homeless in this video. Somebody should have told him to brush his hair.
Kevin looked homeless in this video.
That's nice.
That's funny. Oh my god, that's not funny though. But
yes,
not funny at all, please. Inappropriate.
Isn't that hilarious? You still look good, buddy.
Thank you. I should have worn a hat though.
Okay. What I wanted to say something and I forget. Now I'm laughing too much.
You want to know where my extended vacation took me?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Just kind of hanging out. I went. I don't even remember when I disappeared. It was like August or something like that. But I knew of a startup that was here that was local in New Jersey, so I went on an adventure and worked there for a while. And it was a weird experience because I had worked from home for so long. For I don't know what it was, probably close to 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. So I wanted to get kind of like the life and work in an office environment and things like that. So it was good, and it was good for a while, and then I just kind of missed being home. My wife's trying to further her career, so she's working like 14-hour days every day.
Oh boy!
I needed to be around for the kids a little bit more, which is fine. So we kind of readjusted some stuff. So now I'm back home, kind of doing 12 different things. So.
Well, I hope you squeeze some time in to do a little CrackBerry writing because
I think that's going to be actually a big concentration. I'm trying, like I said before, I'm trying to get my hands on a KEYone for now so that I can actually
have some fun
and play with it and know what's going on. But I'm definitely going to do some writing because I miss it for sure. So.
Well, that's good because if I learned one thing last week, it's that if Blaze is on vacation, Kevin's sick.
Everything falls apart.
A lot of things kind of just. A lot of things.
I think that's what skyrocketed it because it was like I don't even know what day it was last week, but I get like a Skype message. I haven't been on Skype in forever. I get a Skype message, or it was probably Facebook because Kevin knows better than to message me on Skype. And I was like, hey, how's things going? Blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? Yada, yada. You want to do a podcast next week? And I was like, okay. So that's when I knew. And then I looked and I was like, oh yeah, Blaze is on vacation. Kevin's like, oh, I'm deathly ill. I'm like, oh, so everything's going down. Nobody to hold the ship afloat while everybody's away.
Need backup.
Need me to protect everything and hold your hand again. I get it. So
And
yeah, but I
mean, I only take a vacation every 9 years, right?
Yeah, that's why, because everything falls apart. That's what Blaze said as soon as I left. He's like, oh, I'll never go on vacation again. What's gonna happen? But no, I'm happy to be back. I mean, it's super exciting. You know, I think that like we said before, there's a lot in the foreseeable future, and then hopefully beyond that. So, you know, I'm gonna hopefully stick around as long as I can. You know, whether it's in a couple times a month or what, but we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Well, I look forward to it. Can I task you with your first article you should work on?
You can try. Yeah.
I think you should do a roundup of new owner impressions of the KEYone, because there's some really good threads, like, you know, it's first like 24 hours, 48-hour impressions, and there's lots of good quotes and things in there. And we have some fancy new formatting styles, which I don't think we've used them on CrackBerry yet, but if you look at some of the posts that have happened on the other sites for like from the forums content, it's pretty good how we
I'm gonna have to read everything. I'm just gonna type all my stuff in plain text and send it to Blaze and
fix it up. I mean, we can do that too, but
make my life easier.
But I think that would be a great post. Today is April 30th. This probably won't get posted publicly till May 1st, so I shouldn't bother reminding people that we have our Worth the Wait giveaway ending at midnight Sunday night tonight, because you'll hear it. It's going to be over. So if you entered, good luck. I hope you won. And
if you're watching this, you missed it. Sorry.
You missed it. But I think now that we know May 31st is like the next wait day, I think we should just do round 2 of the Worth the Wait giveaway and like do something slightly different. And
you could do like a Worth the Extra Wait giveaway.
Ooh, worth the longer wait.
Worth the longer wait.
Worth more waiting giveaway. That's not bad. Worth more.
We should make some ridiculously long title. Like, it's worth the wait, and now it's worth even more waiting.
Oh, maybe I changed my mind. Maybe the name of this podcast should be Worth More Waiting, like CrackBerry Podcast, and then just worth waiting longer.
Yeah, don't think on it too hard, because that's when things get messy. We've learned that.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Over and over again.
Well, on that note, everybody, if you're still listening to this, you're a fantastic human being, and you have fantastic patience for our rambling podcast. This is a community podcast, not a structured show this week.
Obviously.
We had no script.
Banded back together, so
totally unscripted. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, yeah, we need a script on this one. I apologize for talking too much, because I actually haven't heard my own voice in pretty much 7 days, so this is the first time I get to listen to myself, because I could not talk. So frick,
oh boy.
The unboxing video. So I was supposed to shoot that with my studio team Monday, and I could not get out of bed, really. So I was working all day from bed with a laptop.
You should have done it in bed. It would have been amazing.
An in-bed unboxing could have been interesting. So then they were banking on me to like come in. They had their like production schedule for the week all set. So I screwed it up, and then I'm like, I'll do it Tuesday. And then I was like, no, I couldn't do Tuesday. So then they got really upset with me, because they were changing. They had to like rework around my schedule all week. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this video Wednesday morning, no matter what. And I didn't know what was going to happen, because Tuesday night I felt like crap. I woke up 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. I was like every fluid within distance, and oregano oil, and then I'm like lemon water squeezed, and then I'm tea. Then I'm like, I need an espresso, because I'm like just looked like crap. And I got to the studio for literally 7 o'clock, because it was the only time they could shoot me early in the day and have enough time to get some editing done. And so we did it. But literally my voice was not working until I got to the studio. I recorded that video, and then it like quit working basically right after. And that was it. Now, what's interesting, though, is the original unboxing video is actually 11 minutes long. So I have a second cut of what I post, which is like 11 minutes. But we decided to like just do the unboxing part, because that was kind of what people were going live with teasing. And then my voice started to go. So maybe in 10 more years, I'll release like the never before seen original KEYone unboxing video.
Stay tuned for the CrackBerry 20th anniversary.
Longer and uncut. We're going to be, Adam will have no hair left. Kevin will be very gray. Blaze is going to have more hair, probably. It's just going to start coming back from something. Stem cells. It's gonna be like stem cells.
This is going downhill pretty quick.
I know it's what's supposed to do.
That's how we do it.
Adam, are you still on Twitter and places like that?
Yeah, I'm still on Twitter at the same name. It's A Zeis.
Do you tweet about anything good?
Not really. I mean, I'm just gonna go with no. I was gonna say that I talk about the Mets every now and then, but they got an ungodly bashing today. It's terrible. So I know that you guys don't really have baseball in Canada anymore, except for the one team that's not very good. But the Mets lost like 23-5 today, I think it was, and it was so bad at one point we actually had our catcher pitching because we ran out of pitchers, so it was pretty bad. But
are you talking about the Toronto Blue Jays?
I know you guys don't have baseball anymore, except for one team that's not any good.
That's pretty rude. I think they're pretty fantastic.
No, the Blue Jays, they're in like last place right now or something.
You tried to slide that in there, they're like no one would notice.
I think they're pretty fantastic.
Well, I mean, I give you points for wearing the Expos hat because you can't say anything bad about the Expos.
You know what? I get so many damn compliments on this hat.
I can do that.
No matter where.
Same thing. Like if I were to buy like a Whalers jersey and wear it everywhere, like you can go anywhere with a Whalers jersey on, and nobody can say anything bad too. So it's the same thing with the Expos. So yeah, that's where I'm at, A Zeis, and you can probably find me on CrackBerry at some point in the very near future.
Sweet. Blaze, you're at Blaze.
ELA1ZE or ZE, depending on where you live.
I'm at CrackBerry Kevin. Thanks for the patience with my coughing tonight and our general lack of
organization.
Something, yeah.
Self-worth.
Clearly getting older has not made us wiser. If anything, we are getting dumber. Or I don't know. We can blame digital.
There'll be reviews coming up soon, so
yeah. So we should maybe talk about what we want to do here. Are you going to do your own review, Blaze, and I'll do my thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, from my everybody wants to hear your opinion on it, but everybody also wants to hear my opinion.
So I've been So this podcast is officially over, but we're just going to keep recording for the after.
Listening, you can.
Welcome to the after show. This is just where we work and we figure out what we need to do this week. But you can listen in and pretend you work as part of our CrackBerry team, which you do, because if you're listening, you're part of the fam. It's all the same. So, it's been a long time since I've done like the micro, like super, what's that term? Like detailed, like over the top, obsessive, comprehensive review, which is like 18,000 words. And I started to like write like that. And then I realized it's 2017 and people just don't want to read anymore. They want to like just scan a page for big bullet points and watch videos, which made me sad as a person who likes to type. But then I was like, I don't even want to read this and I'm writing it. So then I'm like, okay, let's regroup and let's go for something that's more like short to the point, but with strong opinion, where due. And I just couldn't decide how I should approach it. Like, I almost want to give myself just a limit on words and be like, you get 2,000 words, that's it. Make them count. And make it like the CBK punchy one. Or, I don't know.
I feel like you should give yourself like 500 words and just get it done.
Just bullet points. Maybe I do that. Maybe like just skip the write-up and just be like, love this, like this. This is all right. This I would change next time or whatever. I mean, it's not bad. It's kind of and the other problem I'm having is this is like you guys are my review shrinks right now.
I feel like this is the same conversation we've had with every device for the last 10 years, but that's okay.
Maybe. My other issue is I can't decide whose shoes, like one of the things I tell all the writers at Mobile Nations when they're doing reviews is like, you need to pick kind of the audience, right? Who are you putting in the shoes of this, right? And even, for example, well, I mean, put it this way, are you picking somebody who's upgrading from BB10 to the KEYone, somebody who's just and is resistant to change and addressing the review for them? Are you doing it just on its own for what it is and just saying like, look guys, it's 2017, like iOS, Android, those are your two platforms. Here's the KEYone and, merits, pros, cons, yay, nay, whatever in the difference in between? Or, do you write it just I think we write it for the CrackBerry audience, knowing there's a mix of things in there. But the thing for me, I realized is like, I think there are some people who will judge certain things when they buy the phone differently if they are like just hardcore BB10 versus me, who I think I'm very flexible, because honestly, I I gave up on BB a couple years ago already. I was just like, yeah, I mean, the apps aren't there. I'm moving on. And there's things I love about BB10. There's things I like about Android. There's things I like about iOS. There's things I hate about iOS. There's things I hate about Android. There's things I hate about BB10. So I feel like I'm pretty easygoing with certain things that some people might get angry at. And I'm like, well, I just kind of accept it more readily now. And I don't know, that's kind of it's an un-CBK thing, because I used to be way more relentless on certain things, just being like, this is wrong, this is right. And I feel like I'm kind of flexible now. Like, I don't know. I'll shut up.
I tackled this moral dilemma when I did the Priv review. Basically, I took care of all that after the Priv review. So basically, when I did the Priv review, that was my transitional device.
Right.
Reaching out to current BlackBerry 10 users who are possibly moving into, BlackBerry's Android experience at that point. And then the DTEC 50 came out, and then it's like, well, I'm no longer writing for BlackBerry 10 users, because I'm going to assume that you, at least the majority of you, already took the jump with the Priv, because it was time to make that jump.
I'm glad to have this little chat then, Blaze, because I think that's quite accurate. Why are you rolling your head? Your head's gonna fall off your shoulders, Adam Zeis.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, because I think that's super valid. Like, you gotta write for what it is today in 2017. You can't kind of stick to it. And I do think, like, any of the little questions that come up, people will find answers to. You can't expect to address everything then. So yeah, maybe you focus on the merits of the device, right? Like, I think that's probably it.
And at this point, I mean, like you said yourself, like, when was the last time you actually wrote a review, right? And people, CrackBerry readers are used to reading my reviews now, so it's like, okay.
So I can reinvent what a CBK review is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we kind of reinvented CBK videos for 2017.
Yeah, totally.
And they're way more fun.
Production value now.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So I can pick my review style. So I feel like in 10, what's the number? How about we go for time, not words? It's like in 10 minutes. Can I assume that much time, or does it need to be like in 5 minutes? You can like open that article up and be like, whoa, got it. Here's what Kevin thinks.
I don't know. I think 7 minutes is a happy medium.
7. So I'm gonna assume 7 minutes of interest, and I want to not waste time, which means instead of my like 1,800 word introduction, I need to like jump right into it. Okay, this is very tactical, useful stuff right now. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you tuned into our after show, where you get to see the behind the scenes of how you conduct device reviews on the internet.
Or at least how we do them anyways.
So drop test. Do we want to do one?
If we can get some extra ones from Selfridges, then we'll do one.
It's 2017 now. Drop tests were cool 10 years ago. Now we have to like set them on fire or shoot them.
Maybe do the opposite. We could do like a launch test and like strap it to some kind of like rocket engine and shoot it up.
I wonder if you could like
or something.
So I mean, it was just Easter, right? A couple weeks ago, right? So like, I don't know if people did this habit, but we had this thing, Egg Wars. Every Easter morning, we would take our hard-boiled like Easter eggs, like actual eggs, like at breakfast, and then you hold them like point to point. One person has one like this, one has this, and then basically you slam them together, and whichever egg breaks loses, and you get to steal that egg. So we'd always have these Egg Wars. I feel like that could be like a thing with phones. Like you shoot them out of guns at each other, and it's like this phone hits this phone, and you slow motion record it, and then you see which one survives. I feel like the KEYone could probably do pretty well. I mean, there's a lot of buttons on the keyboard, which might, at high impact speed, cause problems, might blow apart.
I feel there's to work on that idea a little bit.
I feel like there's some girth. Okay.
I don't know. I think the basic idea is pretty good though.
Solid foundation, but
just like slam them, boom.
Oh, jeez.
Does it work? And then if that's not exciting enough, we will set it on fire at the moment of impact.
Oh my God.
And we'll have the phones for cameras recording throughout it all. So not only will we like videotape this, we'll videotape on the phones. Okay.
Honestly, that sounds like a whole new YouTube channel to me.
Phone wars.
Every new phone that comes out just shot out a cannon at each other.
Well, why do phones? We could do gadgets too. I mean,
laptops, cameras, everything.
Oh my God, laptops. That sounds dangerous.
On that
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, to this aimless rambling podcast. But it's great to have you with us.
I've got YouTube channels to register now.
Do it.
Domains.
Laptop wars.
Be sure to check out Adam Zeis's writing on the CrackBerries. We got some fun reviews coming. Hit the forums up. The KEYone forums are awesome. I did realize I think we will have talking more administrative work now behind the scenes in our after show. I do think we'll have to maybe introduce a separate KEYone help forum, which is purely like questions and answers and not discussions, because there's a lot of just like stuff to wade through now between like the Italy waiting room thread and this and this and this and this. There's just like a ton of discussion stuff happening, which makes it harder to just do the help and troubleshooting. But all right, I'll shut up now.
Thank you.
Okay, it's good.
Awesome.
Take us out, Kevin.
Until next time, thanks for tuning in, and CrackBerry out.